Sarah Platt's life in prison takes another troubling turn next week in Coronation Street, while Idris Nazir comes up with a risky new scheme, only to find himself exposed before long. Starting with Idris. Things begin when Adam Barlow advises Alya Nazir not to accept Idris's offer for her Speed Daal shares. Instead, he tells her to stand firm and demand the full value. Later, Alya makes her position clear to Idris, telling him she wants £50,000 for her share of Speed Daal, and that he can either meet the price or walk away. Sam Blakeman later joins Idris for a game of chess inside Speed Daal. When Ollie Driscoll mentions that he used to be heavily involved in poker, Idris suddenly gets an idea. Idris admits that he is struggling to raise the additional £15,000 needed for Alya's share, but Leanne Battersby offers to lend him £5,000. With some money now available, Idris decides to hire Speed Daal for a private event. He brings Ollie and Lauren Bolton into his plan, explaining that he is organizing a poker evening and insisting that neither Alya nor Leanne can discover what is really happening. Soon afterwards, Idris tells Ollie that he wants him to join the poker game. He promises to supply the money, arrange for the odds to favor Ollie, and give him a portion of the winnings. As Lauren and Brody Michaelis prepare the venue for the poker night, Lauren overhears Idris explaining exactly what Ollie is expected to do. Lauren then warns Ollie that getting caught cheating could put him in serious danger. Meanwhile, Brody tells Kit Green about the secret poker game. Kit heads over to Speed Daal and eventually convinces a hesitant Idris to allow him to join the players. One of the gamblers, Fiona, then suggests increasing the stakes, leaving everyone facing an even bigger risk. Once the game gets underway, Idris keeps a close eye on proceedings, while Brody secretly helps himself to several drinks behind the bar. As the poker match continues, players gradually drop out, until only Fiona and Ollie remain. Ollie eventually takes the victory with ease, leaving Fiona furious and Idris visibly relieved that his plan appears to have worked. However, Idris later confronts Brody for helping himself to the drinks. In response, Brody accidentally reveals the truth to Leanne, admitting that a poker night took place and that Ollie won using the money she had lent Idris. Leanne is understandably furious. Later, she finds Idris waiting outside Speed Daal and firmly tells him that he is no longer welcome at her restaurant. As Leanne walks away, Idris rushes after her and attempts to explain himself. Leanne angrily confronts him for gambling with her money, but Idris insists that he had cheated during the game, meaning her money was never actually placed at risk. Whether that explanation will be enough to convince Leanne to forgive him remains to be seen. Meanwhile, Fiona visits Speed Daal and is stunned when she discovers that Ollie is actually working there as the chef. Elsewhere in Weatherfield, Todd Grimshaw returns from Thailand and receives a visiting order allowing him to see Sarah. During his prison visit, Todd reassures Sarah that she is a good friend and tells her that he will always love her. Sarah then explains that she ended her relationship with Kit because she wanted to protect his career. Later, Casey arrives at Sarah's cell in tears. She explains that her son has been arrested for armed robbery and desperately asks Sarah to contact Kit in the hope that he might be able to help. Sarah explains that she and Kit have broken up and that there is nothing she can do. Casey responds by threatening Sarah. Sarah later phones Todd from prison and tells him about Casey's threats. Todd urges her to contact Kit herself, warning that if she refuses, he will speak to Kit on her behalf. Later on the street, Todd approaches Kit and tells him that Sarah wants to see him. Although Sarah did not explain exactly what the matter concerns, Todd makes it clear that she believes it is important. Kit subsequently visits Sarah in prison, where she tells him that she needs his assistance. Kit explains that helping Casey could put his career at risk, and reminds Sarah that she ended their relationship specifically because she wanted to prevent him from putting his job in danger. With Kit unwilling to get involved, Casey's threats become increasingly violent. Later, Casey warns Sarah that if anything happens to her son, Sarah will be held responsible. Sarah also contacts Adam from prison. Adam tells her that Harry needs stability, and argues that Kit has become too unreliable to provide it. Later, Adam and Bethany Platt approach Kit and suggest that Harry should stay with Adam for the remainder of the school holidays. They explain that sharing responsibility for Harry is important and would give him a more stable routine. Kit is clearly offended by the suggestion, but Gemma Winter-Brown steps in, and with little choice left, Kit eventually agrees. Later, Adam takes Harry to the holiday club, where a woman named Lottie introduces herself. She explains that she has recently moved to the area, and that her son is due to start at Bessie Street Juniors. Over on the cobbles, George Shuttleworth and Christina Boyd are thrilled about their upcoming trip to Somerset to see George's cousins. However, when Todd accidentally reveals that Christina has been spending money again, George tells her that she will no longer be coming with him. After George leaves, Christina heads to the Rovers with Todd, James Bailey, and Sean Tully for an evening together. However, she soon decides to leave, admitting that she cannot enjoy herself while she is so concerned about what is happening with George. Meanwhile, Glenda notices a woman named Celeste knocking at the door of number 7. She explains that Dev Allahan and Bernie Winter are away, prompting Celeste to leave. As Todd prepares to close up the Undertakers, Celeste approaches him and explains that she wants to organize a funeral. She then suggests discussing the arrangements over a drink. Later, Celeste arrives at the Undertakers with her driver Fraser so they can discuss the funeral plans with Todd. Back at the Rovers, Glenda immediately takes an interest in Fraser and asks him if he would like to join her for a drink. While Todd is alone with Celeste, she drops a shocking bombshell. The funeral they are arranging is actually for her. She reveals that she has been given only 6 weeks to live. After deciding on a Dolly Parton-inspired funeral service, Celeste leaves with Fraser. Glenda is delighted when Fraser gives her his phone number and agrees to meet her for a date the following day. Afterwards, Sally gives Lucy a hug and suggests that she and Lily could eventually become very close friends. Back at home, Sally and Tim Metcalf reassure Brody Michaelis that Joni and Shanice will go and see their mum as soon as they return from Spain. However, Lucy becomes increasingly bitter and desperately wants to see her own father. When Tim refuses to even allow her to have a phone conversation with him, Lucy becomes angry and storms off, refusing to sit down for dinner with the family. Eventually, Sally and Tim are forced to admit that they may be struggling to cope with everything and could be completely out of their depth. As the week continues, Tim receives a visiting order from Richie, who is still behind bars. During their meeting in the prison visiting room, Richie begs Tim to support his version of events, claiming that he acted in self-defense and insisting that it may be his only chance of avoiding a prison sentence. Tim refuses to lie on his behalf, causing Richie to lose his temper. Coronation Street airs on weeknights at 8:30 p.m. on ITV1 and is also available to stream on ITVX.